Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everybody had a good weekend away from football, and our guys got a good 3-day weekend, good break, and came back yesterday. Had our first workout, and today we'll put pads back on for the first time and get ready to play a really good TCU team. We talk about 1-week seasons, and we've got 6 left, and the stakes keep getting higher, and we get a really good TCU team at their place. They're playing really well. I was able to watch a little bit of it on Saturday, saw more of the second half, but Duggan's playing really, really well, playing with a lot of confidence. You can see how their defense has continued to grow in their new system that they're running, and they're playing with a lot of confidence. So it'll be a big challenge for us, and we could have a great week of preparation.
What exactly is the TCU offense and Duggan doing that's giving defenses so much trouble?
A couple things. One, his ability to run the football, whether it's design runs, scrambles, has been a nightmare for teams, as well as spreading the ball out. The receivers is playing at a really, really high level right now. The running back's playing at a high level. They're blocking up front really well. And then you mix in the amount of tempo that they're running. They're getting a lot of people misaligned and just throwing some easy smoke screens that are sometimes you think would be knocked down for 3 or 4, and they're getting 15, getting 18 yards, and then they're able to take and win on their shot plays. But I think it's a credit to where Duggan's at and how he's playing, because he's making them go.
The TCU defense, what exactly are they doing on defense, and why has it been effective?
Well, they're doing the 3-3-5 like a lot of people are, and just watching them evolve over the year or through the season, I should say, you can tell how much more confident the guys are in where they're supposed to be, how they're trying to attack teams. They played a bunch of man coverage against Oklahoma State that has really talented wide receivers, and there wasn't a lot of easy throws for Sanders to make, and they made plays on balls and knocked things away, and did a great job of stymieing the run game with their linebackers and their front so active and safeties, and they're playing some simple things really, really well.
You mentioned last week that the team was pretty beaten up. We were thankful for the off week. How is the health looking this season?
Well, we'll find out today. There was a number of guys that didn't participate yesterday that we anticipate practicing some today or tomorrow. But everybody that played against Iowa State is right now on target to play this Saturday.
Promise I'm not trying to jinx anything here with this question, but Adrian, 6 games in, not a single interception. How's he been able to do such a good job taking care of the ball?
It's something we emphasize, and something that he's conscious of to make sure that in tight ball games, maybe it's a turnover here or there that could flip the tide of a game, and understanding that sometimes I've got to check the ball down or I've got to tuck it away, and maybe punt isn't a bad thing rather than forcing a throw. That's part of it. Part of it is his maturity, the fact that he's played so much football. And I think Coach Klein is putting him in some really good situations and calls to be successful. And us trying to stay ahead of the chains and not being a bunch of 3rd and 8+ where you might typically force the ball, and being in a lot more 3rd and shorts. It gets you, opens up the playbook a little bit more, and he's making good decisions.
The season has gone on. You guys have leaned on the run a little bit more than the pass, but you're still, even as you do that and teams put more guys in the box, you keep getting yards. What's been the key to continuing to rush for yardage on the ground, even if the defense knows it's coming?
A lot of different sets that we're doing some run game out of. The fact that we've got 2 guys back there that have been really productive in Deuce and Adrian, as well as hopefully getting more out of DJ because he had such a good finish to that game. And our offensive line and tight ends are blocking really well. And we know that based on the situation, based on the game situation, who we're playing, what they're doing to us, that we're going to have one of those games where we're going to have to throw it probably like we did against Oklahoma.
You mentioned him right there, but DJ, at the end of that game, how much confidence did you get in him watching him run out the clock?
It was fun to watch him run with that kind of confidence and running hard and being physical. And, there's some things that we know that he has the capabilities of doing that he showed for sure on Saturday. I haven't really dove deep into the game plan with Coach Klein yet, but obviously he's going to be a part of that and finding ways to get him some touches.
How impressed have you been with Quentin Johnston in the film you've seen?
Yeah, the last few weeks he's been off the charts, one of the best receivers in college football. He's always been a productive player. He shows up every year when we play him because we've played him a few times that, how are we going to control this guy? You can't shut him down. He's too talented. But the last few weeks, he's taken his game to another level. They're finding different ways to get him the football. What has been so impressive is the yards after catch. He can always go up and get it because he's a big, strong, physical receiver, but catching the ball on under routes or on quick stop routes or smoke routes and making somebody miss and breaking 2 or 3 tackles, and then what seemingly could be a 5 or 6 yard gain has been turning into big plays for him, and that's where we have to do a tremendous job on the perimeter of getting off blocks as well as tackling.
And you touched on a little bit with Fitz's first question, but is there anything specific that you've seen from Duggan that kind of explains kind of the leap in play that he's had this year?
No, nothing specific. I've always been a big fan of his. I think he's an unbelievable competitor, and I remember him playing I think he was a true freshman in 19, and he had some really good plays against us here. And I know he's had some ups and downs as a lot of players have, and he's always come back. He's a competitor. I met him. I can't remember if it was last year at the Big 12 Media Days, and I thought he was a first-class kid, and he deserves the success he's having because it hasn't been easy, but you can tell that the players trust him and the players rally around him, and he's been impressive.
Maybe a dumb question, but in your experience, is there a clear schematic and preparation advantage for a team with the bye week versus a team not?
I don't think so. You could say you're fresher. You could say that you should keep playing because it's going well for you. Once it kicks off at 7:05 or 7:10 or whatever time it's going to kick off, you can throw all those things out the window because you're still going to do what you do probably on both sides, and you're not going to reinvent the wheel on either side of the ball. And so I don't think it's a huge deal, especially once it gets kicked off.
You've given up some yards in the passing game, but from an efficiency standpoint, I think you're among the best in the Big 12. Is there anything you can point to that's really worked for you guys?
Just preaching to the guys that there's really good offenses in this league and in college football, and oftentimes it's you forgetting the play that happened to you so that you can get your focus back and go to the next play and find a way to get a stop. And we were very successful a couple weeks ago in not allowing Iowa State to get in the end zone and forcing them into field goals. And typically field goals don't get you beat, and touchdowns in the red zone do. And so I think our coaching staff on defense has done a great job of keeping the guys focused and realize that every offense in this league especially is going to be able to move the football. You just have to find a way to get stops in the red zone.
Kind of talking about that, but Oklahoma State moved the ball in TCU, and they stalled out in the red zone. They had to kick a lot of field goals. What is the key offensively to breaking through there and scoring touchdowns?
It's kids making plays more than anything. The field shrinks. That's the easy answer. The field shrinks, and it's just not as much space out there. But it still comes down to, I would assume, if you even on some of our times where we've gotten stalled out, we missed a block, missed a read in the throw game, missed an ID in the run game, whatever it may be, and it's just coming down to when the space gets that much shorter, the margin for error is that much smaller. So you have to be able to make plays, and it's not just a skill kid making a play. Maybe it's a big block by a wide receiver, a big block by an offensive lineman.
And then I want to ask about Austin Moore coming into the season to where he is now. How much growth have you seen from him, and where has he expectation-wise gone for you?
Well, the easy thing, you'd say he's made a lot of growth in every asset or aspect of the game, but that's the expectation that I have for Austin. I know it's the expectation that Austin has for himself. He's a very humble, confident kid in his ability as well as knowing how he fits within the defense. And so for any of us to say we're surprised by Austin Moore, you watch that kid work every day in the winter, the spring, the summer, and the fall. It doesn't happen by accident. He's a warrior. He's a kid that's playing with a lot of confidence, playing really fast. He's without question one of our best defensive players right now. You'd ask any of our guys that are, quote, our marquee guys that you'd talk about, and they would point to Austin Moore as a guy that's having an all-conference year.
Coach, halfway through the season, what's the biggest thing you've learned about this team?
Resolve, resiliency, belief, block out the outside noise, and just focus on the next day and focus on the next opportunity. And it's not always going to be pretty, but if you can continue to believe believe in the plan, believe in each other, believe that you're going to find a way. It's been really cool to watch the last 3 weeks us survive and attack the adversity that we faced, and not just say, oh, well, we're facing adversity, here we go. It's, all right, who's going to stand up and make a play? How are we going to get this thing stopped and flip the momentum? Because we've had it in Oklahoma, we've had it in Tech, and we've had it in Iowa State, where all three of those games could have gone the other way. But our guys have such great belief in each other and belief in the plan, belief in the coaches that kind of carries over once you get in the fourth quarter.
Felix had 6 sacks against TCU, ended up being 4.
Yeah.
Right now, he's midseason All-American by The Athletic. How motivated, how good is he playing right now, and how motivated do you feel like he is for TCU?
Felix motivated to play anybody. He just loves to play the game, and I'd forgotten that was the game that he had that. But Felix has a big challenge on his hands. They're really good up front, and they get rid of the ball, and they've got a kid back there that's very elusive, and so it's a big challenge for us on defense in general. And when we're really good on defense, it's guys like Felix and Eli and Khalid, whoever else, getting pressure on a quarterback. And if we give Duggan all day to sit back there, it's going to be a long day for us.
What is Khalid's health leading into this week?
He should practice today on a limited basis, but we anticipate him being able to play.
Past conversations with Connor Riley, he's talked about expecting almost a true freshman offensive lineman to step into the competition. Who would that be, one or two guys?
Well, a number of them have an opportunity. Pastori's probably right now the closest. All these guys that are the true freshmen, they're not 295, 300 pounds. They're in their 270s somewhere, and they're truly in a developmental year. They're getting some reps because of the loss of TP and Liney for a while. They're getting some reps just with the second offensive line. I think that's benefited a kid like Pastori the last couple weeks. There's a good chance he might play in one of these last 6 ball games. We sure as heck hope we can keep his redshirt year so that a year from now he is 290 and more equipped to play Big 12 football. But they're getting a great learning experience from a terrific group of veteran offensive linemen that have all had adversity and all have come through it by being a guy that was sitting for a couple of years, like Gilly sat for 3-4 years, same with KT, and getting that opportunity. I think they're learning from him.
Pastore shift from guard to tackle?
He could play either one, you bet.
And Panzer is your backup center,
Yep.
and then you'd shift around accordingly at that right guard position?
Yep. So Carver would be in at right tackle, and Dawson would be in anywhere on the left side. He'd probably be at left guard, but Coop could flip out. But Hadley would probably go in at center. We're still playing Line Gang at center. We're playing Sam Hecht at center. The benefit the last few weeks of Liney being out, which wasn't a great benefit other than the fact that we just missed him for the one game, was it allowed Sam Hecht to get some more snaps at center. And then last week we were able to give Line Gang a few more snaps at center. So I think it's going to help all those guys. And the fact that they have so much versatility, because Liney can play guard, center, and tackle now, and Hecht can play center and guard.
A little bit earlier you said that limiting interceptions is an important thing and something that you guys focus on. Of course, in Adrian's past, that's something that he struggled with. Was there a time when he came here that you guys kind of had to work through some of those things and get him to the point where he's at now, controlling the football?
Not really. We didn't practice with him until August, and he's always done a really good job of taking care of the football since he's been here. And I don't know what happened in the past. Everybody asked me about that. I wasn't with him, so I really don't know what happened. I don't really care what happened. I'm just excited that he's here, and takes coaching from Coach Klein. He's a real calm, patient kid. If something does go wrong, he's thrown picks in practice. Trust me, he has. And he just, it's like a kid made a play, or I made the wrong read. And he doesn't compound that with a second mistake. He understands it's part of the game. And I think his maturity allows him to handle the adversity that he does have. Maybe he makes a poor read, should give it, and keeps it and gets tackled for a 3-yard loss. It doesn't bother him. He's like, okay, I made the wrong read. I got to go make the next play. And that's a sign of a mature guy that's played just a ton of football.
From a coach's perspective, as you talk about his maturity and his calmness, how much fun is it or enjoyable is it for you to coach someone who's always just focused on the next play and the next snap?
Yeah, it's refreshing. In the day and age of different things we see in college football, Colin's one that gets to coach him all the time. I get to meet with him on a few days during the week, and we watch a little film, and we'll do that after this, and just he'll pick my brain and I'll pick his brain on things that we're seeing from a defensive perspective, and all the QBs will do that with me. It's just fun to we have some light moments in there talking about other things as well. It's just, I think, a calming effect that he has, that Coach Klein has on him as well, and it's been fun to watch Adrian continue to grow in our system and continue to learn from how we're doing things within our offense.
Kind of along those same lines, maybe a criticism of his early on was that he was being too careful and not to turn the ball over. What has he done to be able to keep doing that, but at the same time being more aggressive?
The easy answer would be we told him to let it rip. I mean, that's the easy answer, and he has. He's let it rip in the run game. He's let it rip in the throw game. Every game's going to be different. I can't tell you if he's going to have 6 design runs, 2 design runs, 16 design runs this week. If we're going to throw it 15 times, if he's going to throw it 35 times. I don't think any of us know any of that stuff until we get into the flow of the game and see how everything goes, and what the defense has given us. And he doesn't know half the time how it's gonna go, because I think most people go into games saying, how do we stop 22? And from there, we try to figure out how we're going to attack them based on how they're going to try to stop 22. And every game really has played out differently for us.
And also, you talked about Duggan. How much of his running game is designed? And
quite a bit. They've run a lot of, read zone keep with him. They've run some quarterback draw. He's a physical runner. He punishes tacklers that come and try to strike him. And he always he always bounces back up. He's taking some shots, gets back up, and you think maybe he's nicked up, and then he'll throw a seam ball or an out route, on the money with great pace, and so obviously he's a really tough player too, and you can tell that the team feeds off of his toughness.
Also, Nate Matlack, how is he back to full strength? Or?
Yeah, we feel he is now. I think the open week probably benefited Nate as much as it did anybody. He was still not 100% against Iowa State. We shelved him most of last week and gave him a chance to get quite a bit more rehab, build some strength in it. Now, a number of those guys that have been banged up, now it's getting their conditioning back. And I don't know if they're going to play 30 plays or play 55 plays based on the tempo of the game, but being at night it probably helps guys like that haven't had as much of the running. I know it's going to be warm there, but it'll be dark by the time we get this thing started. So, but Nate's feeling a lot better.
It's always about going 1-0. You're ranked TCU's top 10, 7:00 kickoff. Does this have any different kind of feel this week?
No, it really doesn't. And I think you can see it in the landscape of the Big 12 in the games that I was able to follow last week. Anybody can beat anybody, and it comes down to a handful of plays that ultimately get made in the fourth quarter, and if you make it more than that, you're probably missing the boat, and you're probably not preparing for what you have to face for 4 quarters, one play at a time. And so our guys are excited about the challenge of going to TCU. We know it's going to be a really good environment. It's going to be really loud. We're playing an excellent football team that our guys know are playing with a lot of confidence. And so we have to weather the storm, so to speak, from the environment and the level of speed and physicality that they have, and get this game into the fourth quarter with a chance.
Coach, at the Y and Z positions for the receivers for TCU, every single player of the 6 listed on the 3D, except for 2, are 6'4" and above.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of challenges does that present to your guys in the secondary?
Yeah, it's a big challenge because they all go up and get the football, and that 6'4" plays a lot taller when they go catch it at the highest point. And so, our ability to try to disrupt timing is going to be important. Our ability to mix in man and mix in zone and mix in, dropping R8 and rushing 4, 5, and 6 guys is going to be important as well, and giving different looks. But without a doubt, that's one of the advantages they have, with the ability to run the football with the running back and the quarterback, and then the great size they have and speed at wide receiver.
How important do you think depth at cornerback this week with guys like Omar Daniels and Jacob Parrish will be?
Yeah, everybody's got to be ready to roll. Not just at corner, but at safety. We're going to have to play a lot of guys. Just what we've done all the time. We have to play a bunch of players, and everybody's got to rise up and answer the bell when they get the opportunity.
What kind of progress, speaking of cornerbacks, is Kobe McAllister making?
He's doing well. He's making more progress probably on special teams right now than he is as a corner, because he missed so much of fall camp with an injury that he's fully healed from, but you just lose a lot of that teaching time. And so where his biggest help for us right now would be on special teams.